Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Haddon's Big Balls, where your favorite non-casual casual talks about basketball, football, and some other sports things that he just so happens to enjoy. I'm your host, Haddon Britt, and today we are talking about some big transactions, some big trades that happen in the NBA within this past week. For transparency's sake, I'm recording this as of June 26th, 2026, just so you guys know exactly the context and the time period that I am at so that you understand when I'm making these opinions and these takes and talking about this stuff. To start off, I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for watching. And I know I'm wearing the same shirt that I did in the last video, and that's because I'm recording 2 videos in a row. What? Just because I want to get some content out there, to be honest. But anyways, let's get right into it. I want to talk about this Julius Randle trade, where the Nets received Julius Randle, pick number 28. The Bulls received Nick Claxton, and the Timberwolves received Mo Gay and pick number 33. Now, there's a lot of implications around this, some of which have become very clear as time has went on since this trade, which was the first of many blockbuster trades to start off this offseason. But let's go ahead and discuss the Nets first, right? So the Nets are taking on another 8 to 10 million more than Claxton within this trade with acquiring Julius Randle. I mess with it. I mess with the move to just get another guy who goes out and gets a bucket. I think him and MPJ having some weird two-man actions where neither of them pass each other the ball, like fake dribble handoffs and stuff. I think it's gonna be really fun to watch. I think it's gonna be dumb as hell, but I think it's gonna be really fun to watch. As far as implications go, I think they're starters. I think they give Jaeger Demon the nod. I don't know who they have at the 2 guards, so I'm gonna go ahead and put Michael Brown Jr. there, but it could be anyone. They have a billion young players. They're gonna be really bad, but really fun. Um, at their 3, they're gonna run Michael Porter Jr. At their 4, they're gonna run Julius Randle, and at their 5, they're gonna run Day'Ron Sharpe. Now, that starting lineup is buns as of right now, but I expect to see a leap from some of these younger players, and I hope that they get a lot more run than they have in the past. I think the depth is going to be like almost on par with the starting lineup, which isn't a good starting lineup, but it is a decent bench. Like I think Noah Clowney, Nolan Traore, Drake Powell, Ben Serra, the newly drafted Josh Jefferson, and Danny Wolf, who I'm absurdly high on as a pick and pop menace. I mean, he's pretty decent on ball too. I think him and Will Riley were those 2 really big wings who we saw coming out of the draft who we were like kind of worried about their unathleticism, but I mean they're proving us wrong every day. So I think the bench is gonna actually have a lot more going for it than I initially thought, and then I think a lot of people are gonna think. I think people are not gonna give this team enough credit, and they're going to steal some really weird wins against teams that they probably shouldn't have won against. Because they're starting to get that level of talent, raw or not, that they're going to upset some fans, whether it's theirs or someone else's. And I'm really excited to see how that comes to fruition. Um, like I said, they're going to be a really fun watch, but I I kind of want to make a prediction, which is that I think this could be their first 500 season in like 80 years. Um, they could also tank and get the number 1 pick in next year's draft because a lot of the bad teams are becoming better. But I don't know. I think this will either be like a top 3 pick season, or it will be their first 500 season in like a billion years, like since Jason Kidd. So I'm really interested to see that happen. Now for the Bulls, you get Nick Claxton, who's like a perennial, or used to be like 2 or 3 years ago, was like a perennial DPOY candidate who's talked about for his rim protection and his lankiness and his athleticism and how he could guard like 3 through 5 and maybe step out on the perimeter, which I think he's a little too slow footed for. But he's dealt with a lot of injuries, and I think that's why. But I think he's an incredible fit for the Bulls. He's getting paid 25 million next year, and then it's front loaded, so it's going to be down to 20 million in 2029. And I think that contract just allows for a lot of flexibility down the road that I think the Bulls are going to need. Their starting lineup would be Josh Giddey, and then one of either Okoro, Sexton, or Swain, which I would love Swain, but they're not going to. He's a rookie. I think they're going to throw Okoro the nod, especially because of the contract. Caleb Wilson at 3, Modest at the 4. They could switch those around, and Nick Claxton at the 5. This lineup would be ginormous, and they could go even bigger if they put like Modest or Caleb Wilson at the 2, and then throw in like a Patrick Williams or even a Jalen, what's his name, Jalen Smith at their 4, and just go like, we're not shooting the ball at all, and we're just gonna destroy you because we're humongous. Like I think Asenge too being at that 4 spot when they move up could be really interesting. I think P. Will has to be on the out. Like I think his contract is too big. I think he's underperformed for too long. I feel like Chicago fans say it every season that like they expect Patrick Williams to be gone, but I really think it's true now. Like I think that since they've been cleaning shop, they got a new coach in Tiago Splitter, which I love that signing, by the way. Love that signing. Love it so much. The offensive mindedness, the scheme, I think fits them really well. The swing the rock scheme, like let's get some post touches too. Let's get you in the high post. Let's get you on the elbow, and we're gonna run the action through Modest, who can either fake the handoff and then dump it down to Caleb, or swing it out to the 3-point line in the corner where someone's wide open because they decided to help on the 6'10" behemoth who can dunk on anyone. So I really think that this is going to be a really fun team. I think they will be a decent to good team. I think they will have a chance of being a solid playoff team. I think they'll be stuck in the play-in, but I think they'll be a solid playoff team if everyone stays healthy and they develop like they should. But this switchy rotate and swing lineup just screams Lob City. I mean, you have Giddey, who's one of the best lob passers, one of the best lob passers in the league. One of the best, like people called him the slob wizard when he was on OKC because he's a sideline out of bound play machine. Like he just always makes the right play. His decision making is so good. In 2K, he's always a perennial all-star. But he's a big, like he'll give you 28 and 9 every night, pretty much. I think running the offense through him is pretty good. I think his defensive chops have stepped up as well. I think he really loves Chicago and loves the culture that's being built around him. And I think that barring any crazy trades, I think he's going to be there for a long time. Like, I think if he doesn't get dealt this year and they do good in the season, I think they keep him around, unless he just can't shoot. In which case, you need some spacing. Like, Caleb Wilson can't shoot yet. Modest isn't the greatest shooter. Nick Claxton can't shoot. Swain can't shoot. It's like, who are we gonna use? I don't know if Asenge can shoot. He hasn't played at all. P. Will can barely shoot. Like, it's gonna be really interesting to watch this, but it's looking kind of scary for the East, man. I could see them being as high as like a 5 seed, which isn't very high, playoffs wise, but I could see them being as high as a 5 seed. Honestly, it depends on a lot of things. Depends on injuries. Depends on development. Depends on whatever. But this is my way too early prediction: is that the Bulls are going to be like good this year, not great, good. Moving on to the Timberwolves, who this is just a salary dump. They dumped Randall's salary for what I thought was literally just going to be getting Ayo Dosunmu back and signing him back. But we'll talk about the Timberwolves in a little bit. All right. Moving on to probably what should be the biggest trade of this time period, which is the Giannis trade. I personally don't think it is. I think it's the second biggest trade. I think the only reason it should be is because it's the best player involved, right? But I don't think it's the best situation involved. That's my reasoning. Okay, so let's get into the specifics. The Heat receive Giannis Antetokounmpo and Bobby Portis. The Bucks receive Tyler Hero, Hillel Ware, Jaime Hawkins Jr., Kasparis Yakuchonis, pick 13, which turned out to be Nate Amet, first rounders in 2031 and 2033, a pick swap in 30, and a second in 33. So actually, I want to talk about the Bucks first, right? So they have a bunch of young guys already on their roster with Ryan Rollins, AJ Green, Kyle Kuzma. I guess is still a little young. Kevin Porter Jr. is still a little young. Um, like they have some young guys, and then they have some really old guys like Torian Prince who retire. Gary Trent Jr. I'm actually a huge fan of Gary Trent Jr. Gary Harris is interesting. Uh, Miles Turner's great. We know Miles Turner's been great, but I think the real number one like big prospect they have is Ryan Rollins. And what they just did is they just got a bunch of other young players to come and like surround him, right? And so I think that the Bucks lineup is going to be Ryan Rollins, Tyler Hero, one of either Jaime Jaquez or who did I say? Or Gary Trent or Kyle Kuzma, I guess. I don't know. I'm not a big Kyle Kuzma guy. Um, with their four being Kyle Kuzma. Yeah. Thanasis Antetokounmpo. Nate Ament. Let's say Nate Ament. And their five being Miles Turner. I think that is a bad roster. I think it's a bad roster as of this current moment. I think they could win I think they could go like 400, not 500. I think they could go 400. I think their goal is developing. I think they got a shit ton of guards, like I said in the last episode. Like I think they have way too many guards and they don't know what to do with it. I think Tyler Hero is just a more expensive version of this Ryan Rollins, like a more established version of this Ryan Rollins, which is okay. Like you can keep him. But I feel like they have so many guards. They also drafted another guard, I think. Um like I really don't know where this is going to go because also they got Kasparas Yakuchonis, who I'm really high on. Like he shot really well from three. He's a good playmaker. He's got good vision. He's a good defender. Kalal Ware, super high on. I think that's a great rotational piece. Um, I think Jaime is good, not great. I think he can be a lot better, but I think the Bucks are just going to experiment, and I think this is kind of just like a Giannis wanted this, so let's go get literally as much as we can. We know we're not going to win, so let's just go get as much draft capital as we can, and let's get some really young players who haven't proven themselves yet. That's why they didn't do it with the Celtics, because they knew the Celtics, like if they get Jaylen Brown, there's going to be the expectation to win, and they don't have that right now. They don't want that right now. So they're going to go out, they're going to be bad, they're going to figure shit out, and then they're going to come back and be good in like 3 years. Now, the people I'm the most concerned for though are the Heat. Like this is a really really interesting lineup. Davion Mitchell at the 1, Norm Powell at the 2, Wiggins or Larson, I think it's going to be Wiggins at the 3, Giannis at the 4, and Bam at the 5. I think the spacing 1 through 3 good. Like maybe even great if Wiggins continues to shoot at 41% from 3. Like was I the only one surprised by that? Like I've watched some Heat games, not many. And like I know Norm Powell is lights out. Davion Mitchell was shooting like 38% from 3. Wiggins was shooting 41% from 3 this past season. Like I don't remember them being that good of shooters. Like I don't know. And it's not like Wiggins was shooting on like low volume. He was taking like 6 threes a game, which is like medium volume. Like it's pretty good for a guy who's known for slashing and defense. Like that's great. I think Bam needs to take more steps into a more dominant offensive role. His defense is great. We know that. He can guard 1 through 5, just not at the top tier. And now you have Giannis, who's Giannis. Um, Depth is a little bit of my concern. I mean, I wonder who they run the offense through, primarily like bringing the ball up the court. I think it's going to be Giannis, but I think Bam maybe has a little bit better playmaking. I think it's kind of dead even, but I think Giannis is a better off-ball player. I think he's the best. I think him and Norm Powell are the best off-ball players on this lineup, and it's not very close. But I think Bam and Giannis are equal in the playmaking area. Probably Giannis is better at making the right reads. I think Bam just hasn't had a lot of run as like a real first option. and he's not going to be with this. Um, I think the lack of depth at literally every position other than Pele Larson, who I think is, like everyone says, like one of the best kept secrets in the NBA. With Giannis making 58.5 million, Bam making 50 million, and Wiggins making a possible another 30 million if he accepts his player option. I think that's a real problem. Like I think getting Bobby Portis, having Pele Larson and Jovic, like I think they're decent pieces, but Jovic has yet to prove himself. Larson needs to see an increased role, probably going to be super six man. If not, it's Bobby Portis. And I think Bobby Portis just can't have enough run to like really make up for the lack of guard depth. Like they have none. I'm assuming they're gonna go out and try and get someone with like a mid level or something like that. But I'm really interested to see how this team functions because I think with the culture of Eric Spoelstra and like the schemes that he is able to come up with, I think he could turn them into something like unbelievable. Like we saw what he did with Jimmy Butler and a bunch of bums. Like, so what can he do with Giannis and a bunch of solid pieces? I think it's gonna be like my expectations are low, but I think that Eric Spoelstra and this Heat team are going to build a a much better team with a not great roster than we think. Like, I think it's going to go a lot better than most people assume. That's my takes on the Giannis trade. I think I know they're pretty simple, pretty short, but like it's just not it's not jumping off the page telling me something right now. And I think we'll have to see the fit as far as he goes, and then the Bucks are just going to be bad. They're just going to be bad. It's that simple, and that's okay. Sometimes you have to be bad. Now, moving on to what I think has the biggest implications trade-wise in this like little time frame, it is the LaMelo Ball trade. So this is between the Timberwolves and the Hornets, and the Timberwolves received LaMelo Ball and Josh Green, Mavs legend, shout out, and the Hornets received Naz Reid, a 2033 first round swaps from 28 to 30, second rounders from 29, 32, and 33. Wow. Naz Reid is a Charlotte Hornet. No, I'm kidding. We'll get to Naz Reid in a second. No, we'll start right now. I'll start with the Hornets because I think they're the less interesting of this. But I'm really curious as to how this goes for him because I think he has to be the starter. I think he has to be. I think the 2033 first, they're in middle school right now. That person that's in middle school better start scouting. The Hornets saw LaMelo have the best season of his career and decided to sell high. And I can't super blame them with his inconsistencies on and off the court, as well as some of that injury history that's scary. But you're giving him up for 1 first and 3 swaps. Like if you're getting the best of each of those 3 swaps, when you know Anthony Edwards is going to be on that team every year, like either you're going to be really bad or you're going to get a really bad pick. That's the trade you're giving up, especially in that 28 to 29 range when Ant is still under contract. I think that this is a weird move from the Hornets. I think that Naz Reid is great. I've been watching him since college. I was an LSU fan before I was a UT fan because I came to UT and I'm there. But I've been watching him since college. I think he's incredibly skilled. I think he's underutilized. I think he is I think he's maybe the best 6 man of the past like 4 years. I understand he hasn't won 6 man of the year, but I think like he's at that level. He's great. He's incredible. And so I am really interested to see him in a bigger role on a team that needs someone to step up. And I think if he can unlock that kind of ball dominant side of himself, where he's just going to go and get a bucket, I think he's really going to make a huge leap this year. And I think the scheme of the Hornets, which is kind of like everyone stand out at the 3-point line, someone's going to drive, kick, kind of like what the Celtics were doing in 24, but mix in a little bit of that ISO bag with like Brandon Miller. Like, I think it's going to be really interesting and big moves, getting those O boards, kicking out to 3. That's going to be huge for Naz Reid. I mean, this team is humongous if you really think about it, because I think their starters are going to be either Trey Mann or Kobe White. I think Kobe White's the better player. I think he's going to be their point guard. And then you have Brandon Miller at the 2, which I know is big, and I know he plays 3, but I think he's going to the 2. Con Kneppel at the 3, Naz Reid at the 4, and Moussa Diabate at the 5. That is a huge squad, right? So you have Kobe White, who's 6'3", Brandon Miller 6'7", Con Kneppel 6'6", Naz Reid 6'9", Moussa Diabate 6'9" to 6'11", somewhere in that range. I think it's going to be so fun to watch them. I really do. Like, I think we're going to see some Jelly Fam Naz Reid come out here, which is going to be really cool. I think that's really interesting that the Wolves gave him up out of everyone, but I get it. I mean, Jaden McDaniels is going to be a sub all-star, and I mean, he's an all defensive team level guy since like he came into the league damn near. He's starting to make the offensive leap. We saw that in the playoffs. We saw his value in the playoffs. We saw how he shuts people down and then turns around and goes and scores on them. I mean, I think it's a correct move to give up Naz Reid, but this is crazy. Like, I never would have fathomed that Naz Reid would be a Charlotte Hornet and that would be an interesting, fun move. So the Hornets, I'm a little confused why you gave LaMelo after his first good year, but I also kind of get it, again, with the injury history, and just worries that this is the one and done year, right? Like, he's had decent seasons before. He's had all-star level seasons before, but this is easily his best efficiency-wise and scheme-wise. And so I think they're just trying to sell high and hoping that he doesn't get any better. Maybe the injury history comes back, which, I mean, I think never hope on someone's injury. That shit sucks, but yeah. Anyways, the Timberwolves got back Josh Green, which I think is worth it. No, I think Josh Green is a decent rotational piece. I think he's getting paid way too much, and that's why the Hornets traded him, was for a cap dump. I think that's mostly what this is. I think the Hornets are trying to make a real big splash either this free agency or the next free agency. I think that's a common theme we're seeing. I could see them moving off of Trey Mann after and maybe some picks in order to get another big asset. Maybe even throw in a couple other bench guys with them. I don't know who it would be. But I'm really interested to see what the Timberwolves do with Josh Green, because I think, again, he's way too much. Like, he's taking up way too much cap space. I don't think they have a solid 4 anymore. They just traded Randall, and then they traded Naz Reid, which everyone was like, Naz Reid is finally going to get some run. He's finally going to be able to play the game of basketball. Like, I don't, like, I'm trying to look through the draft and like see if there's anyone who came to the Timberwolves, but like Trey Kaufman-Renn is the guy that they got. Like, that's who Minnesota decided was going to be their guy that they went and got in the draft. And Isaiah Evans. I will say Isaiah Evans is going to be like good. Like, I think that's going to turn out really good for them. But you just traded for LaMelo. Like, you didn't need to have that like extra guard there. I think for the depth, cool. Yeah. You also have Io, who I guess is going to play the 2, but okay. And then at 4, I think you just throw in like Joan Behringer or something. Behringer, whatever their name is. Respect to you. I just don't know how to say your name. And then Rudy at the 5. I think as long as Rudy Gobert is playing the game of basketball for this Timberwolves team, it is their championship window. And I think they're trying to make win now moves until that man either retires or is off the team for another reason. I mean, he's been voted for at some level in the DPOY race. Like, I think every year of his career. I think there might have been like 1 or 2 years where he wasn't. But I mean, like, that's special. As much as people hate Rudy, as much as like they should hate Rudy, he's also like maybe the greatest paint defender of all time statistically. And I mean, Wemby's going to take that over. But like also like accolades wise, like I think like nobody gives him that respect because like it's Rudy and he's weird and like fights and the COVID thing. Like, I get it, but he's incredible. He's incredible on the defensive side of basketball, and on offense, he's a full-on liability. His hands are like they turn into literal spaghetti every time that the ball touches them. It's so weird. But I think this team is going to be nasty. I think it's going to be one of the best two-way teams in the league. I think LaMelo's issues on defense get made up for with literally the rest of the roster being so defensive oriented. And Ant, he's a two-way player. He gets some of that on-ball creation to still have, but now LaMelo gets to play make. Like Ant, the whole thing with him was that his passing chops were not enough, right? He had the same problem that Kevin Durant had, which was if you're getting doubled, he can't pass the ball. So either he goes and tries to score through the double team, or it's a turnover because he tried to pass the ball into the double team. And now that problem is solved. We've seen LaMelo navigate doubles. We've seen LaMelo navigate all these different defensive schemes. I think he is going to fit in perfectly with this team. We've been saying for years, ever since Mike Conley got there even, we were like, this team needs a real point guard. This team needs a real point guard who can go in and facilitate. Mike Conley had that job for like 2 years, got kicked out. Rob Dillingham was trying to slot into that. Bones Highland was trying to slot into that. I would assume who was trying to slot into that. Now you have LaMelo freaking Ball, man. Like I think that's a huge get for them. And I think this could potentially, depending on what other moves they make, push them over the edge. Like I see the Timberwolves being a top 3 seed in the league. They've had so many consistency issues throughout every single season. They tend to play down to the team they're playing against, but they also tend to be a giant slayer. Like they tend to go to however many with the Spurs if Ant doesn't fall down. They tend to go to however many with the Thunder. Like they tend to split perfectly evenly with Denver. I think that this could put them over the edge to get to that Western Conference Finals and really make a push. Like I still think the Spurs are the scariest team in the NBA right now, but I'm really interested to see how this Timberwolves team performs in the regular season because I think that this could help some of their consistency issues. Just having this other like number 1 level option who's going to be the number 2, but he can swing the rock, you know. I'm really excited for this team, man. They're going to be so much fun. And with that, guys, this has been shorter than the last one, which I'm happy about. Hopefully you enjoyed. This has been Haddon's Big Balls. I've been your host, Haddon. And I mean, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you want me to talk about. If you want me to talk about a different sport, if you want me to review film and you want to see me do that, like I'm not the most experienced basketball player, but I do know a good player when I see one. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.